Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Rock. My name is Shivanshu Sukla. Here I am with the fourth part of this video series. This video series will not only help those who are going to give BHU exam but also for every geology student. This part of series contains 30 questions of geochemistry, sedimentology, metamorphic and economic geology. So let's start. First question says, which of the following are lithophile elements? So lithophile elements are rock-loving elements which readily combine with oxygen to form silicate and oxide minerals. Basically, lithophile elements are those elements that readily form ions with an outermost state electron shell. An example of lithophile elements are alkali and alkaline earth metals. So let us consider first option, silver, zinc and lead. This set of elements are example of chalcophile element. Chalcophile elements are copper loving elements and these are elements of B subgroups with a tin electron in the outermost shell. Second option is lithium, zirconium, vanadium. This set is an example of lithophile elements and this is about our question is asking about. Next option is ruthenium, osmium and gold. These are example of siderophile elements and siderophile elements are those elements whose outermost shells of electrons are for the most part incompletely filled and the elements with high negative potentials are considered as siderophile elements. Next option is sulfur, tellurium, tellurium. This set is again an example of chalcophile element. Okay, so basically first and fourth are example of chalcophile element, third one is example of siderophile element and second is example of lithophile element. So the correct answer of this question is option second. Let us consider the next question which state that elements of B subgroups in periodic table with a tin electron in the outermost shell are. So this is the definition of crystal clear definition of chalcophile elements. Chalcophile elements are copper loving and those elements of B subgroups with a tin electron in the outermost shell. So the correct answer of this question is chalcophile elements. Let us consider other option also. Atemophile are gaseous elements, for example hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen and inert gases. Lithophile elements are elements that readily form ions with an outermost electron shell and these elements are rock loving. Siderophile are elements of group 8 and some neighboring elements. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, that is elements of B subgroups with a tin electron in the outermost shell, the correct answer is chalcophile element. Next question is, rubidium strontium dating is useful for. So rubidium strontium dating is useful for rock of is 10 million to 4.5 billion year. Okay, because the half life of rubidium strontium dating is 48.8 billion year. That's why this is used to date relatively old geological material. Along with rubidium strontium, potassium argon and uranium lead are also used to date relatively old geological material. To date relatively young sediments, carbon 14 is used because half-life of carbon 14 is 55,370 year. Okay. So yeah, and carbon 14 isotope is used to material between 100 to 70,000 years. Or in some texts you can also get this is limit. Okay, that is less than 60,000 years. Third option, our 100,000-year-old rocks, carbon 14 is also used to date these rocks. Okay, and to date non-geological material, I have one example that is lead 210, whose half-life is 22.3 years. Because of this short half-life, it is used to study the rates of accumulation of pollutants in the sediments and not used to date geological material. Why? Because geological material cannot be dated with this, this much of a less half-life. As far as this question is concerned, rubidium strontium dating is useful for relatively old geological material. Next question is, elements of which atomic number is absent in the earth? First option is 41. The element with atomic number 41 is niobium and it is widely distributed in nature. 23 niobium minerals and approximately 130 other minerals containing niobium has been discovered in alkali igneous rocks such as nepheline cyanides and pegmatites, carbonatites and granitic pegmatites. Element with atomic number 42 is molybdenum and it is also found in mineral like molybdenite. Okay, and it is discovered in 1778 by Swedish chemist K. Seal. and it is a typical rare element, and content in the earth crust is 1.1 into 10 to the power minus 4% by mass, and this is associated mainly with acidic magma and with granitoids. Element with atomic number 43 is technetium, and this derived its name from a Greek word technetos, meaning artificial, because this is the first artificially produced radioactive chemical element. Naturally, it has not been found on the earth. So yeah, the correct answer of this question is 43, technetium. Next option is 44. 44, ruthenium. Ruthenium is a natural metallic element, occurs freely with other platinum metals. So yeah, this is also found in the earth. But the correct answer, which is the element which is not found in the earth, is technetium. Let us consider the next question. The weight percent oxygen in the earth crust is about. To answer this question, you should know the weight percent of different elements in the earth crust. Oxygen is the most abundant element in the earth crust with 46.6 percentage, followed by silicon, which is 27.72%, aluminum, which is 8.13%, iron, which is 5%, calcium, which is 3.63%, sodium, which is 2.83, and potassium 2.59, and so on. Okay, so basically oxygen is the most abundant with percentage 46.6%. So let us see the options. First one is 42, which is incorrect, totally incorrect. Second one is 46. This is approximately equal, that is oxygen percentage is 46.6. So yeah, this is the correct answer. 49 and 53 are again incorrect options. Okay, next question is, which sedimentary structures can be used to decipher top and bottom of beds? Okay, so to answer this question, first one is graded bedding. Graded bedding shows grain size changes from bottom to top. In case of normal graded bedding, grain size decreases upward, that is coarsest in the bottom and finest in the top. While in case of reverse graded bedding, grain size increases upward, that is coarsest in the top and finest in the bottom. Okay, so graded bedding can be used to decipher top and bottom of beds. So this is the correct answer. Let us consider next option, current ripples. Current ripples are produced by unidirectional currents, so they are asymmetric in nature and are used to indicate paleocurrent direction. Current ripples cannot be used to decipher top and bottom of beds, while wave ripples are symmetrical in nature and formed by bidirectional flow, and wave ripple can be used to decipher top and bottom of beds, but current ripples are used to decipher paleocurrent direction but not used to decipher top and bottom of beds. So this is the incorrect statement. Deformational structures. Deformational structures are again used to indicate paleocurrent direction. Why? What are deformation structures? Deformation structures are formed when bedding, cross bedding, or cross lamination produced during sedimentation have been subsequently deformed. For example, in convolute bedding, convolution are commonly asymmetrical and overturned in paleocurrent direction. So basically, deformation structure are used to indicate paleocurrent direction, but cannot be used to decipher the top and bottom of it. So this is also incorrect statement. So the correct answer of this question is graded bedding. Next question is, the composition of an arkose would be. Now, if we know the composition of arkose, we can easily answer the question. So basically, arkose are feldspathic arenite with composition quartz feldspar and matrix less than 15%. Arenite is a word used to indicate that matrix is less than 15%. Okay. In sandstone with composition quartz plus lithic fragments plus matrix greater than 15% is termed as lithic vacay. If in case the matrix would be less than 15%, then the sandstone will be termed as lithic arenite. Next option is quartz, feldspar and matrix greater than 15%. So basically, this sandstone is termed as grey wag. Okay, and if in case matrix is less than 15%, the sandstone will be termed as feldspathic arenite, or you can say arkose. Next option, quartz plus lithic fragment plus matrix less than 15%. This is termed as lithic arenite, as I told you in option 1. Okay, so the correct answer of this question is option 3rd, which is feldspathic arenite, or you can say arkose. Next question is, an authigenic growth forms during. So what is authigenic growth? Orthogenic growth is the growth of orthogenic mineral, and orthogenic minerals are those that grow as crystals in the positional environment. Okay, and these are orthogenic minerals are different from detrital mineral. Detrital mineral are formed by breakdown of rocks. Okay, so first one is sedimentation. Sedimentation is the process of formation of sedimentary rock. Second is diagenesis. Diagenesis is the process in which all the changes that takes place in a sediment at low temperature and pressure after deposition. Okay, so basically this is the option that is correctly matched with the growth of orthogenic minerals. Palingenesis and anataxis anataxis is associated with metamorphic, in which differential or partial melting of rocks takes place, and the rock formed by anataxis is migmatite. While palingenesis is meaning of palingenesis is complete melting or formation of magma, and anataxis is partial melting of rock. So these are not associated with sedimentary rock material, sedimentary process. Sedimentation and diagenesis are process of sedimentary process in which orthogenic growth forms during diagenesis. The correct answer is diagenesis. Next question is a turbidite deposit may show. So what are turbidite deposit? Turbidite deposit are formed by turbidity current, and turbidity current are gravity driven turbid mixtures of sediment temporarily suspended in water. The deposit of turbidity current is known as turbidites. Turbidites can occur in water anywhere that is there is supply of sand sediment and slope. Okay, and turbidites are common in deep lakes but may also occur in continental shelves, but most abundant in the deep marine environments. Okay, and the first material to be deposited by turbidite current will be coarsest, as this will fall out of suspension first. So basically, turbidite deposit is characteristically normally graded. And this question is asking a turbidite deposit may show. So the option in which graded bedding is present is the option 4. Okay, and turbidite are normally graded. Okay, and also these are poorly sorted. So the correct answer is graded bedding and poorly sorting. Rain prints and fruit marks can't be so by turbidite deposit because rain prints are surface feature. Okay, surface sedimentary features, and turbidite is a deep marine feature. Current elimination and ripple marks. Current elimination or can also be absent in turbidite deposit, or you can say this these feature cannot be readily shown by turbidite deposit. So as far as this question is concerned, the correct answer is graded bedding and poorly sorting. Next question is as per Wentworth scale, clay size is defined as. So Wentworth scale is the grain size scale used almost universally by sedimentologists. And this scale was first proposed by Wooden in 1898 and modified and extended by Wentworth in 1922. And it is a geometric scale in which each value in the scale is either twice as large as the preceding value or one half as large, depending upon the sense of direction. The scale extends from less than 1 by 256 mm to greater than 256 mm and is divided into 4 major categories. Okay, and the grain size which have grain size less than and the grains which have grain size less than 1 by 256 mm is termed as clay. The grain with grain size 1 mm to 1 by 256 mm is considered as sand between 2 to 1 by 16 mm and silt from 1 by 16 to 1 by 256 mm. And the grain with grain size greater than 256 mm is considered as boulder. And the grain with grain size 0.5 mm to 1.5 mm is considered to be as coarse to very coarse grain sand. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, clay size is defined as less than 1 by 256 mm. So the correct answer is 1. Next question is micrite is a carbonate particles whose size is less than 4.4 micrometer in diameter. So first one is a fine grained carbonate. So yeah, this is the correct answer because size of micrite is less than 4 micrometer and it is a carbonate particles. A type of stalactite. Stalactite is basically a depositional karst feature. So this is not the correct answer. Similar to myrmekite. Myrmekite is a texture of igneous rock. Next is hexagonal iron carbonate, FeCO3. That this is a siderite. So these are totally out of context of this question. The correct answer is a fine grained carbonate. Next question is, rhyolite is a rock comprising. So rhyolite is a rock in which particles larger than 2 millimeter. Okay, basically rhyolite is a rock that consists of particles larger than 2 millimeter. Okay, that is gravel, and the Latin word for gravel is known as rhyolite. Okay, so basically you can say gravel or pebble, and the rock that comprises clay and silt, these are lutite, and these the rock which comprises lutite are known as lutaceous rock, and the rock that comprises sand are known as arenaceous rock, and the Latin word for sand is arenite. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, rhyolite is a rock comprising, so rhyolite is a rock comprising pebbles. So correct answer is pebbles. Next question is, a rock composed mainly of quartz and matrix less than 15% is. So the first thing you should know is the rock which composed matrix less than 15% is termed as arenite. Now if it mainly contain quartz, then it is quartz arenite. If it mainly contain a feldspar, then it is feldspathic arenite. Feldspathic arenite. If it contain lithic rock fragments, then it is lithic arenite. And if a rock composed mainly of quartz with matrix greater than 15%, if matrix is greater than 15%, then that is termed as WAC. If it is mainly composed of quartz, then that will come as quartz WAC, feldspathic WAC, and lithic WAC, respectively. So as far as this question is concerned, a rock composed mainly of quartz. So basically the first one is quartz and with matrix less than 15%, and matrix less than 15% means this is arenite. So the correct answer is quartz arenite. Let's see other option also. Greywacke. Greywacke is a rock in which is a matrix rich sandstone with greater than 15% matrix. Lithic arenite. Lithic arenite is a sandstone which is lithic fragment rich in which matrix is less than 15%. Mudstone is a clay size constituent rock in which clay size constituent is 33 to 65% and it is bedded. So the correct answer of this question is quartz arenite. Next question is, Sabkha is a. So to answer this question, first you should know about Sabkha. Sabkha is a coastal, supratidal or mudflat or sandflat in which evaporite saline minerals accumulate. Sabkha is a Arabic word used to describe any type of salt flat. So basically it is a supratidal mudflat. So let's just see the options. First one is supratidal deposit. So yeah, you got your answer, supratidal deposit. So basically these all are incorrect statements. So Sabkha is a supratidal deposit. Next question is, a sedimentary rock may form by weathering and erosion, weathering and deposition of. So what are sedimentary rock? Sedimentary rock are the rocks which are formed by the rocks like igneous metamorphic sedimentary of this earth surface are exposed to denudational agents like wind, water, ice, etc. and are broken up into various sizes of fragments. Okay, so basically sedimentary rocks are formed by weathering and erosion of igneous, metamorphic and sedimentary rock. So let us see the options. Only igneous and sedimentary, incorrect, because metamorphic should also be there. Only igneous and metamorphic, no. Sedimentary should also be there. Only sedimentary and metamorphic, no. Igneous should also be there. Igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic, this is the correct statement. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, a sedimentary rock may form by weathering and deposition of igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Next question is, omphacite characteristically found in eclogite is a. So omphacite is a bright green variety of jadeite, and jadeite is again a clinopyroxene. And composition of jadeite is NaAlSi2O6. Okay, so basically it consists of sodium, so it is a sodic. Okay, and since it is jadeite is a clinopyroxene, so it is a sodic pyroxene. So basically omphacite is a variety of sodic pyroxene. So let us check the options. First one is sodic hornblende. Sodic hornblende is glaucophane whose chemical composition is Na2Ng3Al2 Si8O22OH whole twice. In which because of presence of sodium, this is termed as sodic hornblende. Sodic pyroxene, as I told you, omphacite is a bright green variety of jadeite, and jadeite is again a sodic clinopyroxene. So the correct answer is sodic pyroxene. Sodic garnet, there is nothing like sodic garnet because garnet mostly composed of magnesium, manganese, aluminum, calcium, chromium, etc. and iron. Okay, yeah. So if you know about anything related to this, please comment down below. Sodic plesioclase is albite whose composition is NaLSI3O8. So as far as this question is concerned, ompesite is a sodic pyroxene. Next question is, texture formed by parallel arrangement of fascicular minerals in a metamorphic rock is called. Okay. So let's check the options. First one is crystoblastic. Crystoblastic is basically a series which explain euhedralism of metamorphic rock. Nematoblastic is a texture of metamorphic rock in which rock is made up of acicular mineral. So yeah, this is what question is asking about. Texture formed by parallel arrangement of acicular minerals in metamorphic rock is called. So that is nematoblastic. Lepidoblastic is a texture made up of platy minerals. Okay, so yeah, and porphyroblastic is a larger metamorphic mineral in a matrix of a smaller one, and this texture is known as porphyroblastic. So as far as this question is concerned, the correct answer is nematoblastic. Next question is, saccharoidal texture is seen in which rock? So first of all, you should know what is saccharoidal texture. Saccharoidal texture is loosely packed vitreous to milky fine grained quartz aggregates have the appearance of sugar in hand specimen. And because of the appearance of sugar, the texture named saccharoidal texture. And this is formed by the process in which first carbonate soluble with decreasing temperature, then replaced by quartz. Okay, so carbonate soluble. Okay, so since it is carbonate is associated in saccharoidal texture, so the correct answer should be marble because marble is calcium carbonate. Okay, as far as cyanide is concerned, cyanide is a igneous rock and it shows equigranular texture. Hornfels shows granophalsic texture, and biotite schist it shows schistose texture. So saccharoidal texture is basically seen in marble, which is formed by the process in which first carbonate soluble with decreasing temperature, then it is replaced by quartz. Basically, this is replacement texture. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, saccharoidal texture is concerned, the correct answer is marble. Next question is, an AFM diagram depicts the metamorphic mineral assemblage of. Basically, AFM diagram is a type of composition diagram. Other than AFM, AKF and ACF are also there. AFM diagram is used to represent peltic rocks. AKF diagram is used to represent potassic minerals, and ACF diagram is used to represent metabasites, metamorphosed, shelly limestone, and dolostone. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, AFM diagram depicts the metamorphic mineral assemblage of. So the first option is peltic rocks, and this is the correct answer. Chernokite and hornfels, as far as these are concerned, hornfels is metamorphosed granitic rock, and chernokite is a group of usually dark color pyroxene bearing granites of magmatic of metamorphic origin. Okay, and as far as greenstone is concerned, greenstone is a metabasite, and composition diagram which is used to represent metabasites are ACF. So basically, yeah, greenstone can be represented in ACF diagram. And in ACF diagram, peltic composition is near point A, calcareous composition is near point C, and ultramafic composition is near point F. AKF diagram is used to represent peltic and quartzofelspathic composition, but AFM diagram is used to only represent peltic composition. So the correct answer of this question is peltic rocks. Next question is, the beginning of metamorphism is indicated by the first appearance of. The beginning of metamorphism is marked by the formation of minerals such as lomentite, lawsonite, analcime, prehnite, paragonite, pumpelite, glaucophene, and stylomerin, and also other minerals. Okay, so let's see the options. Number one is staurolite. Staurolite is a medium grade metamorphic mineral. Okay, lawsonite is very low grade metamorphic mineral, and beginning of metamorphism is indicated by lawsonite also, as this mineral is here in the list. Quartz is basically stable at all metamorphic grades, so it is not the indication of a beginning of metamorphism. Okay, because it is stable at all the metamorphic grade, quartz and feldspar. And kyanite is basically a high grade metamorphic mineral, So this is basically not the indication of beginning of metamorphism. So staurolite, medium grain and quartz are incorrect statement. The correct statement is lawsonite. Lawsonite is a very low grade mineral and it is used to represent the beginning of metamorphism. Next question is, lawmentite is stable at water pressure of. So lawmentite form when water pressure is less than 3 kb, while lawsonite is formed when water pressure is greater than 3 kb. As you see in the composition, lawmentite is CaL2Si4O12.4H2A. There are 4 moles of water, while in case of lawsonite, there are only 2 mole of water. So it clearly shows that lawmentite form when pressure is less than 3 kb, but lawsonite is formed when pressure is greater than 3 kb. So as far as this question is concerned and options are concerned, the fourth option, which is less than 3 kb, is the correct option, and all these are greater than 3 kb. So you can say that different minerals can form, but here in this case lawsonite is greater than 3 kb. So basically you can say that lawsonite mineral form when the pressure is greater than 3 kilobar. So as far as lawmentite is concerned, lawmentite is formed at water pressure less than 3 kb. Next question is, vesuvinite is formed in. Vesuvinite is also known as idocrase and it is found in contact areoles associated with impure limestones or dolomite. This is the characteristic part, that it is associated with impure limestone or dolomite. So as far as options are concerned, first one is metamorphosed arenites. When sedimentary rock consists of sand-sized particles, or you can say arenite sandstone got metamorphosed, the rock formed is known as metamorphosed arenites. Metamorphosed pelites is also termed as metapelites, and metapelitic rock contains Al2SiO5 polymorph, that is andalusite, kyanite and sillimanite, and it is derived from the metamorphism of shale and other clay sediments and less commonly from aluminous igneous rocks. So basically metamorphosed pelite contain andalusite, kyanite and sillimanite minerals. So vesuvinite is not found in metapelites also. In case of metamorphosed arenites, because metamorphosed arenites are found by metamorphism of arenitic sandstone, it may be quartz arenite, feldspathic arenite or lithic arenite, and the minerals which are present are quartz, feldspar, and these are stable at all metamorphic grade. So basically in case of metamorphosed arenite, quartz, feldspar are present. In case of metamorphosed pelites, Al2SiO5 polymorphs are present, that is kyanite and andalusite sillimanite characteristically present. And in case of metamorphosed marl, these are also known as metamarls, and these are found by the metamorphism of carbonate bearing peltic sediments covering a wide range of composition between impure carbonate rocks and true pelites. Okay, and these are formed by metamorphism of marls, and marls is a group of sedimentary rock which is argillaceous carbonate rocks. Okay, and most minerals occurring in metapelites and metacarbonates may be present along with clinopyroxene, calcium amphibole, lawsonite, margarite, scapolite and vesuvinite. Other minerals are present in metamorphosed marls. So clearly vesuvinite is present in metamorphosed marls. And clearly from the definition, marls which are carbonate bearing peltic sediments covering a wide range of composition between impure carbonate rock. In case of marls, definition of marls, there is impure carbonate rock, and in also case of vesuvinite there is association with impure limestone, or you can say impure carbonate. So clearly vesuvinite is formed in metamorphosed marls, while in case of metamorphosed carbonates, it represents the metamorphism of relatively pure limestone and dolomite, and which yields generally phaneritic marble. Okay, so yeah, next question is, texture of charnocite is. So charnocite is basically hyperthin granite and it is a granophyllous, and since it is a granophyllous, it have granoblastic texture. Porphyritic texture, porphyritic texture is a type of igneous texture. Hypidomorphic, it is also type of igneous texture consisting of subhedral grains. And lepidoblastic, in case of lepidoblastic in which platy or tabular minerals are aligned to produce planar fabric. And slate, phyllite and schist, these have lepidoblastic texture. So as far as charnocite is concerned, granoblastic texture is present. So the correct answer is granoblastic. Next question is, with increasing metamorphism, sequence of index minerals will be. Okay, so Barrovian categorize the index minerals With increasing metamorphism, the sequence of index mineral as per Barrovian is chlorite followed by biotite, almandine garnet, then staurolite, kyanite and sillimanite. For, starting from very low grade to high grade. Okay, so basically chloride, biotite, almandine, staurolite, kyanite and sillimanite, these are index mineral with increasing rate of metamorphism. And what are index mineral? Index mineral, the new mineral that characterizes any particular zone is termed as index mineral. So as far as this question is concerned, we have to tell the correct sequence of index minerals. First one is biotite, chlorite, kyanite. This is clearly wrong because chlorite is first followed by biotite. So this is wrong. Kyanite, selenite and almandine. This is also not correct because almandine is followed by staurolite and kyanite and then sillimanite. Sillimanite is the last and this is also incorrect statement. Almandine, staurolite and kyanite. As you say, almandine, staurolite and kyanite. This is the correct sequence. Okay. So yeah, we have got our answer. Next option is biotite, sillimanite, kyanite. Biotite, sillimanite, kyanite. This is again incorrect statement. This is not the correct sequence of index minerals. Okay. So next question is muscovite plus quartz equals to K feldspar plus Al2SiO5. It may be sillimanite plus H2 and water pressure is less than 3.5 kW defines. Basically, this reaction is known as devolatilization reaction because H2O is released in this reaction. Okay, and in this case, disappearance of muscovite and appearance of Al2SiO5 and K feldspar marks high grade of metamorphism. Okay, so the correct answer of this question is beginning of high grade metamorphism. Beginning of very low grade metamorphism is formation of lawmentite and lawsonite. Okay, and please comment down below if you know beginning of low grade metamorphism reaction which indicate beginning of low grade metamorphism and beginning of medium grade metamorphism. But as far as this question is concerned, the correct answer is beginning of high grade metamorphism. As we talked in previous question that sillimanite is high grade index mineral. So yeah, the correct answer is beginning of high grade metamorphism. Next question is in India the iron ore deposits are mainly of. So in iron ore reserves in India are mainly of hematite and magnetite type, in which hematite remains the most important industrial iron ore. According to an old data, about approximately 17,000 million tons of hematite is present in India and 1600 million tons of magnetite is present. So from clearly from this data, you can say that hematite is the most abundant iron ore present in India. And 1/4 of the iron ore deposits of India is present in MP and Chhattisgarh. Limonite and siderite are inferior quality of iron ore deposits in India. Okay, and India is the fourth largest producer of Indian iron ore in the world. So, between hematite and magnetite, hematite is the most abundant iron ore. So the correct answer is hematite, followed by magnetite. Next question is blue dust is a type of. Okay, so blue dust in case of banded ferruginous formation of Precambrian age, it is classified into massive ore, laminated ore, and blue dust. In Goa region, the iron ores are mainly massive and laminated hematite, which change to blue dust at depth. And this blue color is because of presence of quartz. Okay, so clearly the blue dust is a type of iron deposit in Goa. Copper deposit in Khetri is present in Jhunjhunu district in Rajasthan. Manganese deposit in MP is present in Balaghat district in which there is gondite type of deposit associated with metamorphosed Dharwar rock. There are no such significant deposit of cobalt in India. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, blue dust is concerned, blue dust is iron ore deposit in Goa. Next question is sphalerite is generally associated with. Sphalerite is zinc sulfide. This is also a zinc blend and it is common in hydrothermal ore deposits where it is commonly associated with galena and other sulfides. So clearly sphalerite is associated with galena and other sulfide. Let's check out the options. Number one is brownite. Composition of brownite is Mn2O3. Clearly it is manganese oxide. Next is magnetite. Composition of magnetite is Fe3O4. Clearly it is iron oxide. Cuprite is U2O, clearly it is copper oxide. Next is galena. Galena is PbS. So as sphelerite is associated with galena and other sulfide, the correct answer is galena. Okay, all these are oxides and sphelerite is not associated with these. Correct answer is galena. Next question is lead and zinc is mainly mined from. Okay, so important lead zinc deposits of India are Jawar belt of Rajasthan, Amba Mata deposit of Gujarat, Sargipalli deposit of Odisha, and Agnikundala district of Andhra Pradesh. So let's take the options: Rajasthan, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. So clearly, lead zinc deposits of India are present in Jawar belt of Rajasthan. So the correct answer is Rajasthan. In Kerala, there are gold fields present. In Madhya Pradesh, there is iron ore deposit and also manganese deposit are present. Okay, please comment down below which ore deposit is present in Uttar Pradesh. So as far as lead and zinc is concerned, the mine are present in Rajasthan. Next question is Jadugura is famous for. So only in Jharkhand there is commercial production of important mining centers of uranium, that are Jadugura and Narva Pahad. So clearly Jadugura is famous for uranium. For copper, MP is the largest copper producing state in the India, in which there are greater than 50% copper produced. Okay, other than and in MP, the copper deposits are present in Malazkhand district. Another copper deposits are Khetri copper mines, which are Jhunjhunu district in Rajasthan. Singhbhum copper belt of Jharkhand is also famous for copper deposits. In case of manganese deposit, Odisha is the largest manganese producing state in the India, in which there are Sundargarh and Kendusha district where manganese mines are present. Bhandara district of famous for manganese deposit. Please comment down. Please comment down below. Other than Aragaon of Nagpur district, Maharashtra, of tungsten deposit, which state or which locality is famous for tungsten deposit in India, if you know. Okay, so as far as Jadugura is concerned, Jadugura is famous for uranium. Other than Jadugura, Narva Pahadi is also present, and these both are present in Jharkhand. So the correct answer is Jadugura, uranium. If you like it, please press the like button, subscribe if you have not done yet, and share among your friends. Thank you. Let's meet in next video.